Excellent!
Hey guys, and welcome to week 2 of the actual renovations here in my house. The first video was all about the demolition, if you guys missed that, and week 1 was all about rough in of electrical. So there's still a bunch of holes cut in the walls in various places. There's a bunch of sockets that have been set up to be installed once all of the drywall work goes in. And that's the main story for this week's video, is drywall work, because I'm expecting there to be some pretty dramatic changes once that all starts happening. But that's starting tomorrow on Tuesday. Today is Monday, and before the drywall, there's other important things that need to happen. Leo's behind me, he's working on some of the rough in for the plumbing. You guys might have seen in the last video, we tore out all the drywall off of this wall, main wall in the kitchen, because we're gonna replace the drywall with green wall. We also wanted to make sure everything going on behind that wall was ready to go, up to code more or less. So over in this area where there used to be a washer-dryer combo, there used to be an exhaust right there that's been filled in with concrete. There also used to be a drain right there, but that's been capped off. These are the supply lines going over for the washer-dryer on that side of the wall. They're gonna come off of the cold here and provide us a tap line for the tap water and ice maker in the refrigerator, which will be in front of this wall. And then down here behind the sink, fixing up some things like this. Our drain pipe here had a transition piece on it with the straps around it that holds it in place, and those are only supposed to be for temporary use. Those are not to code, so they're gonna fix that up so it's draining properly. They're gonna be updating our quarter turn-off valves here so that they're updated quarter turn-off valves that won't fail when we try to turn them off. And then we got these nail guards. You guys may have seen my experience with nail guards back when I renovated the bathroom back at the beginning of last year, but this one is pretty rusted out. These two over here, there should be one there and there should be one there. Those were just completely missing, so they're gonna be adding those in too. What I'm gonna be working on today though, is actually some of this stuff over here. So this is where our network comes in from the fiber to the home. These are my Ethernet cables. In the past, they were just run back along this wall behind the home theater and then up through a hole in the ceiling. Talked a little bit to the electrical guys about running some Ethernet. So they actually have run Ethernet from down there up through the attic and over and did a drop down here to the center of the wall. I asked for a plug here in the center of the wall to plug in the TV. That would actually be pretty convenient to have. But the fact is, a single Ethernet line running from here to there doesn't do me much good, because I'm not planning on plugging in the TV to the internet. I do not approve of smart TVs, and they should not be connected to the internet in any way, shape, or form. That said, I don't think it was their fault when they actually set this up. There's a little bit of confusion as I was explaining things, but what I'm gonna handle this morning, while these holes are still available and before they're covered up with the new drywall, is taking my Ethernet lines up there, I'm gonna push them back up into the ceiling, and I have plenty of length on those cables to bring them over here and drop them down through those while they're available to bring them down here, where eventually I should have a 10 gigabit Ethernet switch, and that will allow me 10 gigabit Ethernet in my home, from my computer room to the garage and out to here. That's really nice. Oh, by the way, these cables, if you want 10 gigabit Ethernet, you should go with Cat 6 if possible. One of these is Cat 5e, but Cat 5e is fine for 10 gigabit Ethernet, I believe, in lengths up to like 40 or 45 meters, which should be fine. I just gotta push it up through there. I thought I was gonna be able to use this hole here from the old can light that's still open, but there's a duct right above it that's blocking me. Also, there's a wire right here. Oh, it's hot. It's hot too. Okay, good. This is exciting. There, that's one done. Attic expeditions are always fun. You gotta dress appropriately, of course. There's my wire that I pushed up. And there's where it needs to go. In retrospect, I probably should have done both cables at the same time. Also, as soon as I got up into the attic, my battery went dead on the camera, so don't worry, I get to go back up there again. I'll get more footage, but for now, I got this wire passed through over here, and I can see why they did a big hole here and a big hole here, because when you get down to the ends where the rafters meet the joists up here, there's not a whole lot of room to get over here into the edge to actually feed it down into the wall. So now I can just do that from here. Pass through over here. So easy when there's big holes in the drywall. Now for the orange cable. There's the orange one. So I took this lamp here and I kind of made a portable internet station because I got a couple routers on there and the Tesla gateway thing and everything. So I wired it up with a power strip so that I can go over and just plug everything into, and then the internet coming off of here that goes into my Verizon router. But now I can just take these two cables coming out the wall, plug it into the router here, and I'll have wired internet to the garage and computer room again. Well, Miguel and Leo took off a little while ago, and we also had some of the insulation show up, or I think this is pretty much all that they need for tomorrow, but let's go over what they finished. So most of this was plumbing work, but we also had a few places along the wall where these fire blocks were either missing or had broken up over time or something. So I actually provided some wood for that, and they cut these into these small spaces where they needed to fill them in. Cut a little gap here for the roof access piping for the this drain down here, and generally filled in spots wherever else was needed. Also adding some nail guards in these places where the copper piping is closer to the drywall. And these again were the supply lines going over to the washer dryer. So the one in the back there is the hot, and this one is the cold. So they cut into the cold here, put a little T, and brought it down here so we have a supply line for the refrigerator, for the ice maker, and the water dispenser. They also fixed a stupid way that this was set up before. This was passing in front of this galvanized pipe before, and it was actually touching it. And it was also apparently soldered directly to the pipe, which is really stupid, but two different types of metals in a situation like this. So I'm really glad that we pulled the wall off so that that could be fixed and routed around there properly. It is now not touching the pipe anymore, so that is good. Down here, the supply line for the fridge now has a little turn-off valve right there next to the spigot, so that's set up perfectly. And then they removed and just put a cap on here. It used to have that compression joint on there, which wasn't going to stay on there permanently in any situation. These little copper lines they redid here so that they can put extensions on. And again, these are just capped off for now until the actual cabinetry goes in, and then they'll put the actual quarter valve fittings on there when they do the finished plumbing. So this wall back here is going to have green board on the bottom half, which is waterproof. It's not necessarily waterproof, but it's very much more resistant to stuff like mold and everything. Then it's just going to have regular replacement drywall on the upper part. Of course, they're going to put in the insulation first, and that is all starting tomorrow morning. Tomorrow is going to be a really busy day for lots of reasons, lots going on. So I think we're just going to transition to tomorrow right now with some time-lapse action, because these guys have a lot of work to do. They need to patch a bunch of holes scattered throughout this area. They need to, of course, do the wall in the kitchen. They need to fill in the wall next to that. Then they're going to skim coat over everything. They're actually going to be doing 2 layers of skim coat and then primer. I'm going to get as much of this on video/time-lapse as possible, so wish me luck. I hope it turns out real nice. Well, I was gone for just a few hours this morning, and the drywall guys got right to work. In fact, they have done a ton of stuff already. I think they're taking a lunch break right now, so let's take a look. Dogs are being kept in the back of the house, which is why they're a little upset, but hey, down here, green wall on the lower half, and then standard 3/8" drywall up on top. They've cut out the little holes for everything. I like what they're doing right here. They've got a piece cutting out all the holes so that they can patch all of the ceiling holes. Where are the ceiling holes? Like this one. Like that one right there. That's awesome. Had a lot of really ugly seams along the ceiling that weren't done very well, so they've scraped all those off. They have retapped a bunch of screws because these roof sheets, the ceiling sheets, were not secured very well. So this is all going to be mudded over much more cleanly. Very excited about that. We got stilts for accessing the higher up places. Mudding is beginning. It's been mixed. It's going to be applied now. I don't know if you guys can tell, but they did a bunch of scraping along the walls. So all of those high points you can now see have been popped off, so that when they do the skim coat, they won't have to do it quite as thick on there. And they are going to do 2 layers of skim coat. End of day 1, or actually more technically, this is day 2 now because it's the next day, but I didn't do sort of an end of day 1 of the drywall stuff yesterday, so here it is. Big new patches have been reinstalled, bit of mudding going on over where they screwed in the wall. Here you can see the green board on the bottom, regular board on the top. I just really love how this looks when it's all finished off with the big swoops of drywall mud going over everything. And it looks like they're doing a great job keeping everything flat and uniform and all of that. So today, very exciting, that I think they're going to be just skim coating. So we should see these other walls getting covered over with a first layer of skim coats. Speaking of which, I need to remove this time-lapse mount right there because they're gonna need to access that part of the wall. So I'm gonna do that. They're gonna get to work really soon. So here goes day 2. So I haven't been able to be here as much as I was last week for a lot of this work that's going on with the drywall. So we're in between day 2 and day 3. It's the morning of day 3 now, and they got a ton of work done yesterday. Even though they started a little bit later, they got here about 11 or 12. And that was because they had another job that they were working on, but they got right to work. And this whole area over here, I'm not 100% sure if this is done. It looks pretty much done to me, but I'm not an expert at these particular things, so maybe there is still more to be done. But this is our living room, dining room area, and you can see where they did the ceiling out here and where they've patched over holes that used to be there. Just looking so clean, so much nicer, so much better than that stupid texture. The kind of cool thing is that we're probably going to go with we're going with a white or sort of an off-white for the walls as well. So what we're looking at here probably isn't too far off from the finished product. I think this wall here though is a very good example of the difference, the contrast between the textury, putty colored stuff down here versus the skim coated nice flat wall there. This is one of those things that before I was like, you know, the textured walls, they're not our favorite, but it is something that we'd like to fix at some point. So sure, we can go ahead and get it done while we're doing all this other work. Now that I'm seeing the actual, not even quite finished product though, I am very happy that we made this decision. But the contractor's gonna be back to start work again in just a few minutes, so I'm gonna get the time lapses going yet again. We're ready to start day 3. Oh, look at her. Look at her. This is another transition shot from day 3 to day 4. It's the morning of day 4, and yet again on day 3, so much work got done. So it's a little loud in here because these fans are going, and these fans have been going all night to try to keep things dry, or to try to dry the walls as much as possible, because the walls are now completely covered with at least one layer of skim coat. I should say the walls and all of the ceilings. Look how clean it looks. Look how flat it is. Look at the lack of wart-like protrusions coming out of the walls that suck. Isn't that nice? Look, even completely down the hallway, as Hero is now walking down to demonstrate, we have coverage, including up to the trim on the doors. That's going to be covered up with more trim, so more stuff coming on that in the future. Even out here in the kitchen, they actually started the second coat. So this area here has 2 coats on it now. They're going to be back at it again today, and then we're actually anticipating that they might finish this off on Monday, which is really, really exciting, because that means that they can do the primer coat over this, and then that means we can get the floors installed, hopefully early next week. But if you guys didn't notice, I've got Hannah here with me today. Since it's Friday, I'm watching her, and we have a very important mission. We're gonna go run an errand, pick up some important stuff. We're out on our excursion now, field trip, extra thing we need to do for the day, but looks like someone fell asleep on the way here.
Maybe I should help you.
I mean, you could.
Joe's here yet again.
Joe's here, but I'm not making him do manual labor today, just babysitting. And there it is, 50 boxes of flooring, and I still have room for the stroller and everything. Man, I love my truck. What a great truck. Let's get food. All right guys, it's the weekend now. Joe and I were able to get lunch, and I was able to come home with Hannah, and I brought all of the flooring, and we've just gotten it out to do some test fitting just to see how it looks with the actual flooring that's gonna be installed. And there it is. Very impressive so far. I have 49 more boxes I need to unload, get out of my truck, and bring into here, but I'll do that really soon. Meanwhile though, just check out these walls. Check out the ceiling. Look how smooth everything is. Look at that double coat of skim coat put on everywhere. It's not finished. The edges still need to be scraped. There's still sanding that needs to be done. They're gonna be coming in on Monday to finish this off, which means that next week we're gonna have the finished bit of the skim coat going on. Then they're also gonna be doing primer, and then hopefully they're gonna get to the flooring installation later in the week. Also, coming up this week, rain. Actually, we're expecting a pretty decent amount of rain this week, so we'll see how that goes as well. And when I say this week, I mean next week from you guys who are watching this right now. That said, I think this video has gone on entirely long enough. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with me through this home remodel project. really super excited with all of the changes, like just night and day difference looking at it now versus looking at it a week ago. So that's really cool. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Thank you again for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.